Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you're doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I'm going to keep this really short, but I wanted to share this message because this is something that's been on my mind, and I kind of keep up with everything that's kind of happening in the Black community, the pop culture that people are paying attention to, as it pertains to the state of Black people and Black families. And I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me. Also, just know that this podcast is on Spotify. You can find it on Spotify or Apple. Just look up my name, Boyce Watkins, on Spotify or Apple, and you'll find me there. So I want to talk really quickly about something. My wife and I were discussing this a little bit, and I think it's worth discussing. It has to do with two women that are absolute mega stars. One's named Keke Palmer. The other one's named Teyana Taylor. Now, Keke and Teyana have been in the media lately for relationship issues. Both of them have had issues with their husbands slash baby daddies. I think Teyana was married to a brother named Iman Shumpert, and who's in the NBA, and they have a very public divorce. The divorce is very public. Teyana Taylor, not Teyana, I'm sorry, Keke Palmer, as you guys know, last week had some issues with her child's father and who she had a baby with, and now this baby, is going to be, sort of traumatized by not having his father around, and it really got messy. She's accusing him of abuse, but then he releases a video, an audio of her mother saying, "I'll put a bullet in your MF and head," stuff like that. And I really think this is interesting. My wife and I talk about it because one of the things I mentioned to you all when I talk about Black wealth and et cetera. You guys know I'm a finance professor. I mentioned in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, that the number one problem that's keeping Black wealth from being built or Black people having any sort of power is the broken Black family, which is linked to undiagnosed and untreated trauma. And what happens is that when you don't treat your trauma, when you don't deal with your shit, you stay in the shit. You don't become the shit, you just become a piece of shit. And so effectively, people who don't deal with their shit, they end up dumping their shit onto other people, and then the whole community ends up stinking. The whole community ends up stinking. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's throwing stuff at each other. Everybody's cutting each other's throat, threatening to kill each other, threatening to beat each other up. Give me a yes if you've seen this. Give me a yes if you've ever seen just the sheer tragedy of two traumatized Black people in a relationship. Like they get together. They do two things. They either screwing or fighting. One or the other. There's a lot of passion, right? A lot of passion. That trauma popping out, right? You're either dealing with the trauma by having lots of sex with each other, which is one. These addictions are ways to cover up and deal with the trauma. By the way, that release of dopamine that comes from making love with another person. Well, that pretty much is trauma too, because trauma causes all kinds of addictions, and sex is one of those addictions that pops out. So that's why you see people just screwing everybody or whatever, and then next thing you know, little babies come out, and these babies are born in the middle of a big pile of crap. They really are. They're born in the middle of dysfunctional, screwed up relationships. The babies are going to have lots of issues, and the reason they're going to have issues is because the two adults who are responsible for raising that child, the two adults responsible for making sure that child is safe and protected, aren't screwed up. Because they never dealt with their own shit. So what I'm gonna say is, in fact, you should probably call this episode "the shit." Seriously, the shit, right? Which might stand for sisters holding it together. Sisters holding it together, because Black women are holding it together. I get it. Y'all strong. You're capable. God bless you. But some of y'all barely holding it together. And the thing is that your life is shit because you ain't never dealt with your shit. So you think you're the shit, but some of y'all ain't the shit because you have not dealt with your shit. So you're sitting in the middle of shit. Give me a yes if you're following what I'm saying. I hope you guys get this analogy. So here you have scenarios like this. Scenarios like this. Teyana Taylor, drop dead gorgeous. Absolutely freaking like prettiest thing ever. I can't say Kiki's as pretty, honestly, to me as Teyana, but they're both pretty in their own right. Very talented, obviously. And let me just tell you, they got these beautiful, beautiful families, right? They go and they make a baby, and because anybody can do that, and they show the baby on the internet because that's what you do when you're an actress and you're trying to seek attention. Attention is your commodity. Impressing white people in Hollywood is how you get ahead. That's how you make your money. That's how you get your fame. That's how you get your clout. All that stuff, right? So you're doing all these things, and it looks beautiful, right? It looks beautiful on the outside because people who don't do the internal work, They focus on the outside. They focus on the external. They say, "Ooh, look at that! Look at girl, she looking good. Look at her waistline. Girl, look at her hair. Oh my God, her lips. Oh, gorgeous. And she got her a baller girl. She got her a baller. He in the NBA. He got an $80 million contract, right? And you focus on the external, right? That's what you do. That's what you do because you want something that looks good. You want something that's good that you can flex on the gram, right? So you can put these pictures up of your big tall sexy man and and your beautiful baby, and everybody says, "Oh, they say, girl, black excellence, y'all, black excellence." And I'm sitting here and I'm just sitting here feeling bad for these poor kids because I'm sitting there thinking, how much have we spent time on working on the outside that should have been spent working on the inside? Are we as beautiful on the inside as we are on the outside? I mean, you spend all that money looking good, you're buying fake booties, getting fake hair, fake nails, fake lashes, going to the gym every day, maybe, whatever it is, right? Trying to look as good as you can on the outside. But I'm curious to know how much work is being done for the inside. How much time is being spent? And I'm not just talking about Kiki and Tiana. I'm talking about their men. They're men too, right? Because you picked your partner, and you and your partner going at it. Ain't nobody innocent in this game. We're all responsible. We're all a part of the circus. We're all clowns, right? And so what's going on? Why is it that we don't understand the importance of getting past the superficial and looking for the substance? Where's the substance? Ain't no substance. So effectively, what you have, in case you don't know, if you haven't been following Keke Palmer and Teyana Taylor, both of these women are in the middle of big messy situations with their relationships. Kiki has accused her man of beating her up, but he accused her of also beating him up, or of her mother of saying, "I'm gonna put a bullet in your motherfucking head," things like that. Which sounds to me like she ain't no innocent little victim when you talk about putting bullets in people's heads. And then also you had Teyana Taylor, same thing, divorce with Iman Shumpert, and it's not just a divorce. It's not just sort of a quiet parting of ways. It's loud, it's dramatic, it's very, and which really isn't a surprise when you consider the fact that both of these women made their careers by being drama queens. That's what they get paid for. They get paid for drama. They get paid for things that are interesting, exciting, things that get people talking on the shade room. And so one of the things I thought was really interesting, and this is me just asking these old fashioned questions because I believe in things like family and healthy relationships. Is my first question is, that I would ask Tiana Taylor is, okay, so you said that your man is a narcissist, and that's why you had to get a divorce because he's a jealous narcissist and this, and this. Okay. My question to you is, if you're a mom, why does all your shit have to be on the internet? Why does the internet have to know why you divorced your husband? I don't tell me, am I crazy? But why does the damn internet have to hear a statement from you where you're somehow like you're in front of a jury? You're in front of the jury, the court of public opinion, and your goal is to convince the world that you're the innocent victim in this relationship and that he is the terrible perpetrator. I mean, what is it? Are you painting a narrative? Are you destroying your children's view of their father? Are you trying to make their father look like a horrible beast so you can raise your baby by yourself so your son will grow up not knowing how to be a man and your daughter would not grow up not knowing what a good man looks like? Is that what you want? Are you trying to erase him from the equation? What happened to dignity and honor and respect? What happened to people just being classy? What happened to classy people? Now, again, this is just these are just two examples, right? But these are very public examples, and maybe this is an example of what not to do, right? There are many classy women, many classy men who will get a divorce and say, "Hey, you know what? Me and my wife are not together anymore, but that is the mother of my children. I respect her, I love her, I appreciate her. So you will not ever the internet will not know why we parted ways. If me and my wife ever got a divorce, I love my wife, but let me tell you, divorce can happen to anybody. If me and my wife ever parted ways, and y'all were like, "Well, what did she do, Dr. Boyce, or Dr. Alicia? What did he do to you?" We're gonna be none of your goddamn business. We're gonna say none of your business. Both of us. We're gonna that's not the internet does not need to know why you parted ways because you're preserving a family. You're preserving a family. And and the thing is, even divorce documents and KFS, and maybe I can double check, maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's ways to keep that stuff sealed. There are people that get divorces. Like I don't think anybody knows exactly why Jeff Bezos got a divorce. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe I'm not a lawyer. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe there's no way to keep it quiet, whatever. But even then, maybe that doesn't even need to be in the court documents. Maybe you just say irreconcilable differences. Has anybody give me a yes or no? Yes or no? Has anybody ever heard the term irreconcilable differences? Do you know? Does everybody know what that term means? And what that basically means is that's kind of like a relationship version of no snitching. And some people will say, no, no, no. If she was emotionally abused, she needs to tell everybody and speak her truth and all. Yeah, but honestly, what you got to understand, smart people get this. Dumb people will never understand this. I'm sorry, but y'all smart. So I'm gonna try some. I'm gonna share some with y'all. Let me know if you understand this. How you speak about your ex doesn't just say something about your ex. How you speak about your ex is really you speaking about yourself because you chose that person. So if I'm constantly trying to berate the mother of my children, not only am I harming the children by saying your mama is a raggedy bitch and she's a hoe and I can't stand her and she's crazy, blah blah blah. So not only am I hurting the children, but I'm also talking about myself because anybody who's smart is gonna say, well, if she was all of this and all of that, what was you doing sitting next to this lady for all those years? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, why would you pick a person like that? Is you stupid or is you dumb? What's wrong? Maybe you need to see a therapist because normal people don't pick a person. Well, they do a good job of pretending, blah blah. Maybe you shouldn't have hopped in the bed with that person so fast. That's the thing that people don't want to do. Nobody wants to hear this when you say maybe you should take your time before you start sleeping with people. Maybe sleeping with somebody in the first week of knowing them, and then starting a family with a crazy person isn't necessarily the best thing to do. So here's the deal. Look, when the reason, if you want to know why I'm talking about this kind of stuff, it's because the black family has failed since integration. You have lost the ability to raise your own children. Your kids are being raised by BET. They're being raised by the public school system. They're being raised by corporate America, who how they're exploiting your children. Once they become adulthood, you're selling them right into slavery because you don't give them no assets, you don't give them no training, you don't give them preparation for the world, you don't even give them two parents. So they go out into the world, and you are producing. The black community has produced about 20 million orphans. You don't understand. A child without both parents, without access to both parents, is kind of at least half an orphan. You're producing a nation of orphans. If you want to know what I'm talking about, I want you to go to some parts of Chicago and look at how many young people out here don't know what to do, have nowhere to go, have no resources. Got to go either beg white folks for jobs or go, do flash mobs and rob stores and stuff just so they can get enough money to get by because they're orphans. People with families don't have to do that. People with good families, with good parents that they have their back, that teach them the right things, they don't have to do that. So the truth of the matter is that when you look at this, there's a formula here. There's really a formula here, and you see it consistently, and it comes down to like choices. Like earlier, I was talking about this poor girl Chloe Bailey, who I think she was in that Little Mermaid movie. I think she was the one in the Mermaid. I think her sister Hallie is on Grown-ish, and she's dating this dude who's a rapper. And this rapper, I did a video about this earlier. This rapper is going to get her sued. Like he literally did something crazy on the internet, and I'm not going to go into it. You can go find the video, but it literally he's going to get her sued. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know this guy. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad person just because he's a rapper. For all I know, he could be another D1. But the obsession young women have with guys that have no future or guys who are not going to make good husbands and good fathers is really comical. It's absolutely comical because then you make babies with these guys and they don't give a damn about you or your child. And next thing you know, the baby comes into the world. The baby ain't even got two parents on the day it's born. The mama and daddy have already broken up before the baby's born. So you're setting your kids up for failure. You hate your children. You do. You hate your children because you don't protect your womb. You hate your children because you don't protect your penis. You hate your children because you're not thinking about your future. You hate your children because you're not even committed to getting the healing and the discipline required to build a solid family. You hate your children because you let ego cause you to kick their mama or their daddy out of the house. And next thing you know, you're trying to raise this little boy and trying to make him into a man, even though he's got a father that's like, hey, look, that's my son. I want to be involved with my son. But because you mad at your dad, at his daddy, you think somehow taking the daddy out of his life is not harming the child. No, you're abusing your child. That's called, actually, therapists, they call that parental alienation. It's parental alienation. It's being defined as a form of child abuse. So there are a lot of women who are abusing their kids. They think they love their babies, but no, if you raising that son, he's not gonna be a responsible man for another woman because he's always been mama's baby. You're abusing that child. And the men, if you run around here putting your penis in anything with any big button to smile that you can find, and out here making babies and not following through and being solid and consistent, you too are abusing your kids. This ain't just on the women, it ain't just on the men. It takes a village to destroy a child. It takes a village to ruin the black family. It takes a village to destroy the community. So the reality is that when you talk about these relationships, accountability goes all the way around the block. When you talk about Teyana Taylor and the Keke, they're both, I don't understand why Keke or Tiana's relationship even needed to be on the internet. There was no abuse. There's no video of him punching her in the face. Stop that. Every time a woman comes out and says something negative about a man, y'all want to say, oh, she was being abused. Maybe, man, how do you know she wasn't the abuser? I mean, some of these women are mean. There are women out here that will punch a dude in the face. So stop acting like women are the only victims in these situations. Some of these men, I know plenty of men who get victimized by absolutely terrible women. And I know women who get victimized by absolutely terrible men. Look at what hip hop did to the psyche of the black man. Frances Cress Welsing, RIP to her, she was telling y'all about this. You're shaking your ass to a bunch of murder music where some guys are running around talking about how much they hate black women, and y'all think that that's good stuff, and everybody's dancing to it, including the women, including the women. So this is a mess. I mean, this is an absolute mess. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this, and I know some people ain't going to like it because people don't like progress. They don't like black intelligence. They want to stay in the middle of shit. They want to stay in the middle of the cesspool. They want to stay in the middle of ignorance because somehow they've defined ignorance to be what it means to be black. But here's what I believe. I'm going to say this right now. If you can't find some way to love your kids enough to humble yourself and submit to your man, submit to your woman, submit to your family, then don't waste people's time trying to get married and pretend and have kids and shit. Like, seriously, stop it. Just stop it. People should not even start a family. If you didn't grow up in a stable family, you should not start a family unless you take a class. I kid you not. There are classes you can take on how to start a family. Think about it. You took a class to learn how to be a nurse's aide. You took a class to learn how to be a plumber. You took a class to learn how to go work at UPS. Why the hell would you take a class to learn how to raise some damn kids without destroying them because you ain't never dealt with your shit? Most of the time when I see people running out in the street, again, with Keke Palmer thing, it's just messy. He abused me. But then there's the recording of her mother threatening to put a bullet in this man's head. So she obviously ain't nobody's victim. Because I didn't hear him say, well, I'm gonna go get my gun too. He didn't say that. He said, where's my son? So he says, where's my son? She says, I'm gonna put a bullet in your motherfucking head. So anybody who thinks that that's a one-sided, simple, open and shut case of abuse is out of your freaking mind. Stop it. Stop it. She should have been smarter then. Don't pick crappy men like that. Take your time. Get to know men before you jump into bed with them. Stop being led by your hormones. Seriously. Or if you do, just know that there's risk involved. There's risk involved with that. I'm not writing off abuse. There's real abuse that exists in the world for sure. And we should be trained to deal with that too. Instead of waiting for people to be victimized, you train your daughter to prepare for that. I tell my girls, if a man puts his hands on you, you let me know. We will handle that. We will handle that together. You train them, you prepare them. You tell your son, don't ever put your hands on a woman ever, period, no matter what. Same thing is true with women. Don't put your hands on a man. Don't do that. Don't even put yourself in a situation where he can hit you back, claiming that you hit him first. Don't even do that. Keep your hands to your damn self. Do y'all know the statistics on the percentage of black couples that end up beating each other up, they like that percentage is like 4 times higher than any other group. Did y'all know that? That literally 4 times more black people, black couples beat each other up in the relations physically than white people. So we crazy. We crazy. We got drama in our blood, and we want to settle everything with a fight. Everything comes down to a fight. And I'm just telling you, like, I'm tired of fighting, man. I don't want to fight with my woman. I don't want to fight with my family, because you know who gets hurt in these fights? It's the babies. It's the kids. The kids. The kids are like, I just want mommy and daddy to be together so I can be happy. But they can't even do that. Why? Well, because mom and daddy have undiagnosed, untreated trauma. Mommy's out here 30 something years old trying to live a city girl life. Daddy's out here trying to be a player, trying to go get hoes. And the little babies at home sitting there saying, why don't I have two parents? Why can't I have the privilege of having two people who love me enough to put their own bullshit to the side so they can actually raise a child and be responsible? Why did my parents get a divorce and it was all over Instagram because my parents are in their 30s trying to flex for the gram? Hey, why is my daddy out here acting like a teenager? Why is my mama out here still acting like she's 20 years old? Like I don't understand that. Kids don't get that. And I'm gonna tell you, it's just, I guess it's just life. I mean, I know things change. I know I had the privilege of growing up in a world where 32-year-old women acted like grown-ups. My mother, when she was 32, she acted like a mom. My father, when he was 32, he acted like a dad. And apparently that's going out of style. You get 35, you got 40-year-olds. Think about this for a minute, y'all. You got 40-year-olds who really run around thinking that they 20-year-olds. And you acted like you're the same age as your kids. And this is just what I'm seeing. And if you want to know what this is creating, is it's destroying your families, it's destroying your wealth, it's destroying your legacy. You can't build anything. So here's my simple solution. I'm gonna make this simple point, and then I'm gonna bounce on out of here. Everybody, and I believe if you want to do this right, give me a yes. Give me a yes if you want to raise your kids right. First of all, I want to know who I'm talking to. I need to know I'm talking to the right people. Ignorant people are gonna leave. They should leave. You can go sit in the shit like everybody else. But how many of you want to raise your kids right? How many of you want to build a stable family? Give me a yes if that's what you want to do. If you want to raise your kids right, if you want your kids to be healthy, loved, protected, everything else, give me a yes in the chat if you are in that category. Okay. So for those of you that are saying yes, here's what I want to say to you. This is just it's a simple problem, simple answer. I'm a mathematician. We solve problems. We don't whine about problems. I know in the civil rights movement, they taught you to whine and sing Negro spirituals and march with Al Sharpton every time you get a problem. I don't do that. I don't whine and cry about problems. I solve them. Here's the deal. If your family's important to you, especially if you didn't get the training that you deserved, go learn how to do it right. Treat that with the same importance that you considered going to college. When you went to college and you wanted to be an engineer, you didn't just say, one day I'm just going to be an engineer because I'm just going to go and apply for the job and I'm going to just somehow figure it out. No, you went to school to learn how to be an engineer. If you wanted to be a nurse, you had to go to school to learn how to be a nurse. If you got a job at FedEx, they had to train you for that job at FedEx. You didn't just figure it out, they trained you. So the same thing is true with being a parent and being a head of a household, especially if you never saw it done the right way. If your daddy ain't shit, then don't imitate your daddy and don't pick a man like your daddy. And understand that in your subconscious, that's exactly what you're wired to do. You're going to pick your daddy. You're going to end up dating your daddy. You're going to date your mama. So you got a deficiency you have to fix. So if I'm trying to be a good father or a good mother, a good husband, a good wife, you know what I do for three things. And I'm gonna give you these three things, then I gotta go. One, I'm gonna get individual therapy if I can get it. If you can't afford it, there's plenty of YouTube videos you can watch from real therapists. Number two, if I love that woman, I'm going to get couples counseling to protect my relationship just like I protect an asset, just like I protect a business. Because we got to keep this thing going if we're going to win. Because if we spend all of our energy fighting each other, we will never be able to build anything. You can't build anything if you try to destroy each other. You can't win. A football team can't win a game if the wide receiver is beating up the quarterback. You can't. So all that energy we might spend fighting, no, we're gonna spend that energy fighting the problem. And we're gonna be up in that therapist's office learning every single therapy tool there is so that I can learn how to love you properly and be the best man in the world for you. And all the little weak ass little boys out here that think that that's simping, they can all kiss my entire ass. Seriously, all those men who think that loving your woman to the best of your ability and being there for your woman and being 100% committed to being the best husband you can be is somehow simping, those guys are mentally ill. And you should never marry a man like that. If you lay down with a man like that, you deserve whatever you get because you ain't dealing with a man, you're dealing with a bearded baby. Next, what else do I do? The next thing I do is I focus on learning how to raise those children. I get advice from people who have raised children. I talk to people who've been married 30, 40 years, not people on the internet who sound good. I find people who are in healthy relationships. Kevin Samuels sounded good, but Kevin Samuels was not in a healthy relationship. Same thing with some of the women that talk crazy about men. No, not some influencer that's gonna make his money by telling you what you want to hear. Find somebody that has the experience. And then also you can read books. There are books and so many books and classes you can take on how to raise a family properly, how to raise kids. I don't understand that. Like Teyana Taylor and Keke Palmer spent all that time learning how to be great actresses. I'm sure they went to acting school, Juilliard, all kinds of other stuff to learn how to be extraordinary actresses, and they're both very, very talented. Why don't y'all spend some time learning how to keep a man and learn how to raise a damn child? Why don't y'all spend as much time, if y'all spent as much time learning how to maintain a family as you spent learning how to be the best drama queen you can be, your family would still be together. You would have picked, and if you want to blame it all on the men, well, guess what? You can also learn how to pick a good man, pick the right kind of man too. There's training for that also. There's older women that will train you on that kind of thing. But instead, maybe you went for what looked good. Maybe you wanted to be married to a basketball player. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But then when the relationship crumbles and you have to get a divorce, at least handle it in a classy way. A classy way to divorce, a classy way to part ways is to preserve the respect that the other partner has when it comes to their children. I would never in a billion years publicly disparage the name of the mother of my kids. If I love my kids, I am not going to talk negative about their mother in public. So when Tiana goes out and she says, "Well, we got a divorce because Iman is this and Iman is that," no, inappropriate. No, what you do is you use that term irreconcilable differences and just so you know, housing vlog, we're not blaming the women. You can blame the men. I blame everybody. I blame everybody because the victims are the children. It's the women and it's the men's fault. Y'all picked each other and y'all had no business being together. You spent very little time. Iman has spent as much time learning how to keep his wife as he spent learning how to play basketball, his family will still be intact. Now the babies will suffer because the parents have not dealt with their shit. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? Undiagnosed, untreated trauma in the black community and ignorant ass culture is the number one problem that you have in your community right now. That is your problem. That is why you can't build wealth. That's why your families look like garbage. We look like clowns to the rest of the world. Do y'all understand how ridiculous we look to everybody else? Do y'all understand how crazy we look? Seriously, you're picking based on the wrong criteria. You're destroying your children in unbelievable ways. Everybody's walking around thinking about themselves and their own egos. Nobody can put their ego to the side for the sake of the children. Women like, I ain't submitting to no man. I ain't never gonna submit. And then the men are like, man, you marrying a baby's mama. You a punk. You a simp. You a simp. Everybody's talking about ego. People with big egos like that can't be part of a group. They can't be part of a team. So if you know, so if you believed he was a narcissist, well, he probably has always been a narcissist. Why would you pick a narcissist? Remember, you chose your partner. So the way I talk about my ex is just so y'all know. For example, you've never heard me specifically talk about any ex in a really heavily derogatory way. You've never heard me do it. You'll never hear me do that. If I ever broke up with my wife, you would never hear me say negative things about her because what I say about her is really me talking about myself. Because the first thing you should do is you should say, well, boy, if she was so terrible, why did you sit next to that? crazy, terrible woman for all those years. What's wrong with you? Oh, well, I've got undiagnosed, untreated